Good evening all. This is Norman here at the Grateful Shed. I was wanting to do a quick tour to show you guys that watches our videos what it looks like, kind of how it's built, the backstory behind what we do. Of course, this is the front facade of the shed. My goal was to make it look like an old front porch. I found this design and kind of went with it, and I'll go in more detail about that here in a few minutes. This is our backyard. We used to have a swimming pool in this fence when our kids were younger, and of course they grew up and moved off, and we wanted to do something out here, and I wanted a kitchen, so we come up with this idea. So we took the pool out. Of course, that's the outdoor dining area we added last year. But that's where you got the fence that comes around. And over here under this old tree, we have a corner that we sit in. Of course, it's been raining so much, we kind of got everything put up. But this tree lights up at night. And then we have slate stepping stones from our back porch all the way to the front door of the shed. The shed is 22 foot long and 12 foot deep. The front side here is, I think it's 8 foot tall, and the back part is about 14 foot, so it's a half a roof. So if you'll bear with me just a minute, I'm gonna walk around back. I built this room on the back. This is the pantry, and we'll come in from the inside here in a few minutes. We just kind of give you a back view of the shed, and that's the pantry that comes out in the back. And it's 8 foot by 8 foot. The vinyl you see on the walls, we put that up in the winter time so we can have heat in there and hold it in somewhat. My wife found it online. It's actually a marine vinyl that would normally go on a boat. And of course, I put it up over the screen wire. But this year, we do so much eating and videoing out here, we left it up and put a couple of air conditioners inside. It still gets really hot, and I do most of my cooking outside in the summer months, and we just dine inside. Over here on the front, where this gable is, when I was building it, I had this part here, and I got to put something in there. I had a friend of mine that's in the stained glass business, and he designed me a stained glass window and brought it to me. That's in the front. Of course, at night, it lights up. Now, this beam you see here, that's right above the eat and right below the stained glass window, come out of this old house I tore down. I dismantled it. That beam is actually a seal that was under that house, and that beam is 23 foot long, one piece of lumber. So in this corner, on the left, where you see eat, and just right of the door, and just on the corner there, I put 6 beams in the ground, 3 on the front, 3 on the back, basically. That simple. And then I started from that and started building the shed around it, all out of reclaimed lumber. Those 6 beams, the one in the corner, the one beside the door, and the one there, and 3 in the back, is the only parts of this shed that was built out of new lumber, but I needed something stable to hold it together. So as we walk inside, you see where we always do our videoing. This is where I'm standing there cooking every weekend. The floor was actually the decking from around the swimming pool. And it worked out just right when I dismantled the swimming pool. I had just enough decking board to build a floor to the shed. And when I was out here building it one afternoon, I thought I'd break it up a little bit. And I put an M for McPhail in the floor there. And my wife said if she ever got remarried, she was going to marry somebody, her last name started with a W and said on the other side. But when you walk in, this is something you never see in our videos, and you turn to the right. Here's my bird food. We have a table that folds up that'll hold 6 people. And then we have the 2 rocking chairs. You see, I have one of those floor air conditioners. Then we have gas logs that we use in the wintertime. I got a few cookbooks laying there. And this old man will come out of a house that it was over 100 years old. And like I said, the house I dismantled to build the shed was over 100 years old. And you can see on the inside here, on the back wall, that's another seal from that house I tore down that was holding the house up. And up in the walls and up in the nooks and crannies, I've got antiques and pictures. I don't know how well they all show up on display. And that one right there, in that corner, is actually the tools that belonged to my grandpa, Huey McPhail. I've got them up, so it's kind of cool with the shed here. There's one of my father's old, I can't see it real good, one of my father's old rod and reels. There's a lot of family stuff I was able to put up that we didn't want in the house, and this is a perfect place for it. And then we've just accumulated stuff from salvage yards and antique shops. And then we have some pictures of my family, some old pictures of my family, some pictures of some barbecuing, and some of the fans we met around the United States in our travels. But that's the tall back part of it. Of course, we got the deer with the shed head cap on it. And the picture that you see in our videos every week is of our daughter Emily. She's currently Miss Virginia, fixing to compete in Miss America. And you come on around this wall and you see the cast iron I use to cook with. And a lot of those pans come from my wife's aunt and my grandmother that I still use. And then up here above the stove, you see a split unit where we have heat and air on this end of it. The cabinet on this side here was lumber. I built this cabinet out of lumber that come out of the old house. And that's where I'm able to store my pots and pans and my cast iron. It's stored up under there, and I don't have to worry about scratching or messing anything up. And I got a 4-burner gas stove, and I had a galvanized top made, just galvanized metal. I didn't want it to look like a restaurant. I wanted to look old-timey, so I had that made to serve food. If you come on around here in the middle, the bar, it's 6 foot long, and it's got corrugated metal on the front of it. It actually come out of an old hog house. And of course the 2x4s and the framing of it come out of the house I dismantled. The tongue and groove walls, it was really cool. I left the old white paint that was on it, what was left on it, but that's all tongue and groove walls. Wall boards that come out of the house I tore down. I was blessed to find that house and be able to get what I needed out of it. And of course, this door you see back here goes to the pantry I showed you earlier. I don't freak out, it's not organized. This is a working kitchen, but that's my pantry. I keep my spices and my bowls and all. We use a lot of paper towels here, keep my cast iron clean and dry. And of course, we have the refrigerator in there. Now, it gets hot in here in the summertime, so I come over here and got a attic fan that's got a thermostat on it. When it gets really hot in here, too hot for that refrigerator to work, that fan will come on and circulate the air to help the refrigerator work. If you go to the stove there and turn left, you got the sink. Now that is a stand that we found that was made originally to wash clothes in. And I bought 2 wash tubs and I plumbed them out and drained them. And you can see the drain there. And I put a water fixture above it. And I have hot and cold water. Of course, I have a few cutting boards up over that. And I got some more. I got an old ladder here that my wife helped me design that we hang old pots and pans on and stuff I use on the old ladder. And then, of course, we're right here on the inside. I used where the front is, and I made a paper towel holder out of an old Pepsi crate. And then right above the stove, I took another Pepsi crate and made a spice holder out of it. That light's got a glare in it, but that's right up over the stove there. Of course, right behind the splash guard, I keep my knives, and I got some old grinders, and there's things I picked up from my family and antique shops. I got things I like to use, you know, but it's pretty and it looks old-timey, but it's functional. And up above, way up at the top, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've got another exhaust fan I put up there last year that I can work from a remote. So if I got some smoke from the cooking or it just gets too hot in here, that's the highest point in the shed, I can turn that fan on and it'll get the air out, the hot air or the smoke. And we have one window on this end that come out of my neighbor. I had her house burned down, and she wanted me to have that window, and we always think about her when she was able to salvage that. And then this is the inside where the stained glass pig window is. But all the trusses, all the woodwork and everything in here is reclaimed lumber. Alright, so if we go back outside, I want to show you something really neat that what I did, if you come around this side here, is we found a hot water heater you use for camping that you hang up when you go tent camping, but that's what I use for my hot water heater. So I had to replumb it a little bit, and I got it hooked up to a LP tank. So when I turn that hot water on, you got hot water on demand. You just have to be careful with that in the wintertime because it will freeze. Over here on this side, I have a grill that my nephew designed and built for me. Of course, it adjusts up and down. You could cook directly on the grill part. Or sometimes what I've got on there now is an old pan I put charcoal in and modified it a little bit, and I can cook steaks or hamburgers on it, and I can adjust that with that chain and make it a comfortable cooking level. That's the last time I used it. And you come around here, and I got some more old antiques on the fence. I got firewood stacked up because we don't need none right now, that's for sure. And then we got an old wood stove we sit around at night when it gets dark, and we in the wintertime, I sit out here and talk, stand around the stove. A neighbor of mine gave me those pavers, and I laid them last year. And we bought this this outside eating apparatus shelter at Sam's. It was a kit, and I went on top of it and put a tarp on top of it. It's made to be opened, and I put a tarp on it so we can sit out here if it rains. And then we also got a shade we can let down if the sun's shining directly on it. We can lower up and down. We bought that at Lowe's. But this is the area we sit out to eat in the evenings when after we all kind of move out of the shed. But the shed itself, if you go inside, that kitchen table there on the right will seat 6 people. The bar will seat 4 people. And then we have the 2 rocking chairs, so I can seat about 10 people in there. A few more comfortably, but most time, most of the guys and the ladies that are here go outside to eat if the weather's permitting. We'd rather eat outside. And also, I have fans. Hold on one second. And lights hooked up in here that we could turn on to keep the skeeters off and have the lights on. And I guess that's about it. If y'all got any questions, put it down in the comments. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have videos 2 every week. We don't want you to miss anything. We appreciate y'all watching our videos. We appreciate the many kind comments. If you want to build something like this or have an idea or have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll answer all of them best I can. Thank y'all. We love you. God loves you. And good night.